Well, a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program, a Friday feature here on WKRX 96.7 FM and TV Channel 10. My name is Rob Hall. Thank you for tuning in. Want to let you know that the Gardener's Corner program is brought to you today by South Boston Memorials, T.G. Brooks Company, and the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. They're having their 8th annual harvest show coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Without further ado, please make welcome all the way from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, Mr. Carl. Let's get it on, Cantalupe.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing, Carl?
All right, pretty good.
Good to see you, my friend. Sorry I couldn't think of a more spectacular introduction for you today.
Oh, that's spectacular enough. Second to Johnny Carson.
All right.
What the heck, you know?
That's right. Well, Carl's got some really good information that he wants to pass along to you all today. We are live in the studio. If you've got a question for Carl, you can call us here at the radio station, 336-599-0266, and we'll get you on the air and do our best to get you an answer to your question. Carl, before we jump into the topic at hand today, want to make mention about the local farmers markets here in Roxborough. I just happened to ride by and see the folks this morning at the Roxborough Farmers Market on Depot Street. Saw some pretty red bell peppers, saw some greens and other nice vegetables. They're there until about 12 o'clock today, and they're there Monday through Saturday. And then the Person County Farmers Market, they're located on Madison Boulevard. They will be opening up tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and they'll be there until 12 noon. And they're also open on Wednesday afternoons from 3 until 6. And they're located on Madison Boulevard, right across from the Cookout Restaurant. So anytime you can support the local growers, please do so, because they greatly appreciate it, and you'll be appreciative of the quality of the freshness of the vegetables and all you receive from the two local markets here in Roxborough. Carl, this past weekend was the farm tour, and you took part and was on hand at one of the local farms to answer questions and things. How did the farm tour turn out, do you think?
Went very well compared to last year. I think we saw an increase of participants, which is good. And I was at J&B Herb Farm, and it seemed like every time a group of people would come by, of course, the people at J&B would take them around to tour the greenhouses, and as soon as the one tour was done, another group of people was right behind them. So we had a really good turnout. Nice cool weather, not blistering hot weather, which was nice, and always a cool breeze blowing.
Well, want to say a special thanks to all of the farms that participated, and also thanks to everyone that organized the farm tour, and most of all thanks to those that got out and bought the buttons and went to some of the different places and took part in the farm tour. And I'm sure it'll happen again next year. So anyway, Carl, you was telling me a little bit before we went on air that you wanted to talk about some of the biological and organic pest controls.
That's right.
That's available for the home garden.
Yeah, I don't usually spend enough time with it, so I thought I'd give that a try today. Before I do so, I guess just to talk about things that are going on in the garden right now. I know for my own in my own garden, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, they're all growing well. Make sure you give them plenty of water. And the little critters, the cabbage worms are active, so you can treat with either Sevin, Sevin, or Dipel to control those. Also a good time to go to your local nursery and buy ornamental trees and shrubs. You can plant those very easily right now, and they'll have plenty of time to put down a good root system before winter.
Carl, a question, and I don't think we have mentioned this, in several weeks. You have always said, for a couple of different reasons, it's better to use liquid Sevin
Yeah.
than the powder form of Sevin.
Mm-hmm.
How about Dipel? Is it only available in a liquid form?
Dipel is available in the liquid form and a dust as well. Well, I think it's available as a wettable powder that you mix with water and then spray. But I just thought of something else here that I might make mention of, and that is here. Here goes the senior moment. Bringing up something else here. Now I can't find it. Oh well. I'll think of it.
Okay.
I'll think of it later.
And I know that Carl has says one of the big reasons that it's a little bit better to use the liquid Sevin versus the Sevin dust is a lot of times when you use the Sevin dust, if you've got any neighbors of beehives or anything like that, if some of the honeybees should get any of the Sevin dust on them and take it back to the hive, it could, kill, a lot of the bees in the hive.
That's right.
And the liquid Sevin is not as harmful to the bee population as, the Sevin dust. Also, something that you can do is use a sprayer sticker whenever you're spraying any kind of vegetation, and this causes some type of chemical reaction that causes the water molecules to kind of lay out flat, and it will stick to the plants and stay on them a lot longer. So anywhere that you go and buy your water-soluble herbicides and pesticides and things like that, if you just tell them that you're wanting a spreader sticker, they can help you out with that. I've heard a lot of people using dishwashing liquid. I understand that will work, but from what I understand, the spreader sticker will help it stay on longer.
The dish solution will wash off quickly after it rains. But my senior moment subsided.
I thought I saw a light bulb come on over that way. I thought it was a phone ringing, but it wasn't.
It's been pretty dim lately. Here, for the people that are watching on TV or on the computer, this is something that I thought I'd show because this is occurring right now. On turnip salad that people have in the garden, there's a fungus disease that occurs this time of the year called Cercospora leaf spot, and this is what it looks like. And give you maybe a better color shot of it here. It's a fungus, and unfortunately we do not have a fungicide to control it anymore. It's been taken off the market. But the easiest way to control Cercospora leaf spot on turnip salad is to make sure that you have plenty of air circulation between the leaves. Now in the morning, if we have heavy dews present, we have leaves touching each other because that's how most people sow a turnip salad patch. They scatter or broadcast the seed. Thin them out. Thin out the plants so that you don't have a lot of leaves touching each other, and this will go a long way in helping to control Cercospora. And this is not something that's harmful to you. You can certainly use these leaves, but in severe cases, this can really take over and kind of wipe out a patch pretty much. So Cercospora leaf spot, nothing much you can do for control in the way of fungicides. Just thin out the patch as you use it to prevent the touching of leaves.
All righty. Now, Carl, when we get to talking about the biological and organic ways to help control pests, I did bring one question with me
Okay.
today. Had someone wanted to know how to kill wiregrass in flowers, mainly roses,
Yeah.
and also shrubbery,
Mm-hmm.
without causing harm
Yeah.
to the flowers and
You can
shrubbery.
use a post-emergence herbicide called Vantage, Vantage, and this can be sprayed on all the plants in the landscape. The Vantage is labeled for ornamental plant use: flowers, trees, shrubs, whatever you have as far as ornamental plants in the landscape. The active ingredient in Vantage is sethoxydim. That's the chemical name. If you using that in a vegetable garden, you buy another product called Post, Poast. That's also sethoxydim, but it's labeled for food crops. So if you want to control wiregrass or Bermuda grass in the vegetable garden and not harm vegetables, use Post. If you want to use it in the landscape, use Vantage.
Okay, crazy question. Suppose you had some post on hand. Could you spray it on the, more or less the ornamental?
Yeah. Well, you could.
But would it cause problems?
No, it wouldn't cause problems, but it's just a case of. But I'm glad it's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up, Rob. It's a case of using the label for which it is intended.
Okay.
And that's what it comes down to.
Okay. All right. So for all of your flowers and things like that, to control wiregrass and things like that, use Vantage, and that is spelled Vantage.
That's correct.
And if you're using it in the vegetable garden, use Post, and that is Poast.
That's right.
Hot dog, I get 100 for today, Carl. Look at that.
That's
I
pretty good.
told y'all that schooling would eventually pay off. Hey, I thought we had
I
a phone
thought
call.
we had one
But
too.
anyway.
Yeah.
All right, let's move right along, Carl. And
All right.
maybe a lot of interest. A lot of people, seems like more and more each and every year, people are concerned about organic and all the different things. So
Yeah.
this could be a topic that could be very useful to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, when we talk about using biological or organic pest controls, this actually falls under another term that we use frequently. It's called integrated pest management. Now, what is integrated pest management? Well, it's the use of all methods that's available to us to control pests, which does include chemicals as well. And the best way to control insects and disease problems is to prevent them if you can. And there's a few things that you can do in preparation for this. First, maintain your soil pH around 6.5 and take a soil sample so that you know what your plants require. If you bring the pH to 6.5, most vegetables will grow fine. Most of the nutrient elements are available to plants at that soil pH. Build a biologically active, healthy soil through regular addition of organic matter such as compost and manure. Okay, looks like we have a call here. We can pause briefly here.
Okay. All righty. We do have a call. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Well, go right ahead. We're listening.
Yes, sir. I want. Somebody was telling me on Monday a lady called in about some hardwood plants she had for sale.
Oh.
I want to know if I give you my name and my number. Maybe she's listening. She can give me a call.
Well, sir, Actually, the program that you're calling for is not on Fridays. It's want ads, but you can call tomorrow morning between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and we'll be glad to help you out with that. Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, all right. Okay, all right. Yeah, we've got a signal around here at the radio station that if it's a call on hold, it's for us. But anyway, I guess I kind of jumped the gun.
I guess so.
My apologies for interrupting you, Paul.
That's all
Carry
right.
on.
That's all right. We should grow winter annual cover crops such as clover, wheat, rye grain to provide additional organic matter. This is another good thing to do in the garden. We want to till the soil in the fall to expose overwintering insect larvae to freezing temperatures. Now, as far as selecting plants, we always want to plant crops that are suited to our soils and climate. We always use disease-free certified seed when we plant, especially when we plant vegetable like Irish potato. We want to use certified seed so that we don't import plant diseases into the garden. We want to select insect and disease-resistant fruit and vegetable varieties when available. For example, the letters V and F next to a tomato variety means that it's resistant to verticillium and fusarium soil fungal diseases. We want to select sturdy plants with well-developed root systems. Disease and insects in young seedlings may start in greenhouses and then result in plant death in the garden. So inspect your plants, know where they're coming from. Buy plants from a reputable grower or grow your own seed. Practice constant vigil in the garden. You can't plant the garden and then walk away and then come back to harvest. You need to go out every day and make a visual inspection as to what's going on in the garden. So you can check for insects and diseases, and usually if there is a problem, you can get rid of it before it becomes extensive. Water in the morning so the plant leaves dry before nightfall. Actually, you really don't need to wet the leaves when you water. If you have a drip irrigation system, this prevents the leaves from getting wet when you water. Or just use a soaker hose, or just take the garden hose, take the nozzle off, and just target the water around the base of the plant so that you're not wetting the leaves. Use interplantings in the vegetable garden as opposed to solid plantings of a crop. This might help slow the spread of insects and diseases as well. We want to rotate crops in the garden. That means moving them to different locations each year to reduce a buildup of plant-specific pests in the soil. And you should try to allow 3 to 5 years between plantings of vegetables in the same family. In other words, the crucifera family includes cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. The next year, plant vegetables of a different plant family, like the leguminosa, which includes peas and beans, the umbellifera, which includes carrot, celery, and parsley, and the solanaceae, which includes potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers. So you want to rotate vegetables from each of these individual plant families every year. You want to plant at recommended times. Of course, plants that are set out too early tend to be weak and more susceptible to frost and or pest attack. And always get a copy of our vegetable planting guide, which is available at the Extension Office, the NC Vegetable Gardening Guide. We want to mulch to prevent weeds, conserve soil moisture, and to increase soil organic matter. Straw, leaves, newspaper, and grass clippings are a few of the materials that you can use as mulch. Okay, we've got another question.
Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardeners Corner program.
Good morning. I was listening to the part about rotating your vegetables within the garden.
Right.
If you've got the space, is it a good idea to let a garden spot just sit? In other words, move the entire garden to another location and let the original space
Rest, more or less.
Right, and stay fallow. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you can do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but is it a good idea to do that? I mean, that would be a lot of work. Would it be advantageous to do that, or are these other things that you're saying, tilling the garden to expose the insects to freezing temperatures and rotating the I mean, doing a cover crop and rotating the crops within the vegetable, would that take care of things, or would it
It would.
be
It would.
advantageous
If
to
you do all these
the whole
things,
garden?
if you do all these things together, it will greatly help and benefit, and you wouldn't have to let land lie fallow.
Okay.
But that can be done. A good case in point maybe is if you've had, well, of course, unfortunately, these things happen when we tend to plant the same vegetables in the same area every year. Diseases like southern stem blight or southern blight of tomato can really build up to damaging levels. And so if you have a really an epidemic, I should say, of that, then it would greatly benefit for you not to plant anything and then just let the soil lie fallow or till it up, and just to try to starve out the plant pathogens or fungi from that area.
Okay.
But I would probably do the fallow thing as a last resort.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot.
All right,
Thanks for
thank you.
calling.
Appreciate that. That was a good question. And,
Yeah.
And you know, Carl, I guess it's a lot of farmers that more or less, I'm going to call it for the lack of a better word, and it may be what it's referred to, like strip crop, you know, rotating. Like one year they may have soybeans here.
Right.
Then one year it may be corn. And,
Yeah.
you know, just kind of rotating the crops to maybe to keep from getting a buildup of certain things in the land.
Right. Plant pathogens are generally crop specific.
Well, you know, one day this past week we had someone to stop by the house, and we are still getting some tomatoes, and a lot of tomatoes that we have are like the little small grape tomatoes.
Yeah.
And we've been planting tomatoes in this one spot for years and years, and the guy was saying, y'all been planting tomatoes here for years. Said, you're not really supposed to, are you? And I spoke up and said, well, you're not, you know, because it can really build up. And so I'm thinking next year we may let that spot rest from tomatoes and plant something else in it.
Yeah, it's a good idea to do that, because a few years ago, it really opened my eyes to a very large backyard gardener who planted tomatoes in the same spot year in and year out, and he got hit with southern blight, and it just wiped his whole crop out. And southern blight, the fungus, overwinters as these. The scientific term is sclerotia, and these sclerotia contain the spores of the fungus. They're like little mustard seed capsules, and once you have those, they can lie dormant for a long time, and when the favorable host plant comes among it, then it infects. So I mean, he had a lot of inoculum in that soil. That's good. I mean, if a plant pathologist wanted to study southern blight, his place would have been ideal.
Was a perfect place.
Yeah, but you really don't want to do that if at all possible.
Right. Well, you know, Carl, speaking of soil, here we are, mid-September. Be a great time for you to do your soil samples if you hadn't done so.
Yep.
Because they are free for right now, but as of about Thanksgiving, it's when you'll have to start paying $4 per sample.
Right, and that'll go on until the end of March of the new year.
And so get your soil sampling done and save yourself some money. We're going to get a word on in just a minute for one of our fine supporting sponsors. We'll take a trip over to South Boston, Virginia, and we'll stop in at South Boston Memorials. And they're friendly people over there. They've been in the business since the 50s. Here's more information from South Boston Memorials.
South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia. They offer granite markers, monuments, and mausoleums. For more information, visit the website SoboMemorials.com or call 434-572-3859. South Boston Memorials have been in business and family-owned since 1958. In-house laser etching is available at South Boston Memorials. They have over 300 granite memorials in stock. For all of your granite markers, monuments, and mausoleums, stop in and see them right there at South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia, or call them at 434-572-3859 and visit the website SoboMemorials.com. That's South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston.
Okay, here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. We'll get back into talking about pest control organically and biologically.
Right.
But we've got a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, Carl, got a question for you.
All right.
We got a fairly new orchard up here on my boss's farm, and it's a mixed variety. I mean, we've got pears, we got peach, apples, plum, all of them in the same orchard.
Uh-huh.
And we're trying to figure out the best way to tend to them throughout the winter. And we've out of the success rate, we've got about probably 70 trees and only had about 20 to die out of all those trees. So I feel like that was a fairly good success rate. The root system, or the root balls, we got plenty of room for them to grow. And a couple of questions. One, I'd like for you to tell me about the blight and what we should do this winter to take care of them so they will be more successful and that, we get the best success rate for the trees.
All right. First of all, how old are the trees?
8 months old.
Oh, okay, so this is brand new. Did you take soil samples before you planted?
What we did was we dug them up with a backhoe, and we took the soil that was there, and we mixed it with cow manure soil that was already on the farm, and we mixed it really, really well, and we put it in there, and like I said, the success rate we felt like was fairly well.
All right. You still need to take soil samples, though, to find out if you have major nutrient deficiencies as far as phosphorus and potassium. And also, you need to know what your soil pH, because you can add as much manure and organic matter as you want for fertilizer, but if you don't know what your soil pH is, everything that you do is going to be for naught.
Okay.
So you need to know what the pH is. The soil is probably acidic, so you need to add limestone based on the soil test recommendation. So all the nutrients that you add to your trees are going to be utilized by the roots. Otherwise, they won't. They'll just remain tied up in the soil. So soil testing is number one. Number two, most of the things that you do with fruit trees it's actually not done in the dormant season except for pruning. But it's done during the growing season. And just give us a call at the Extension office at 599-1195 and ask for the insect and disease control in the home orchard.
Okay.
And I can either mail that to you or email it to you, as well as some other useful publications that you can use.
Okay. We'll definitely do that, but planting all those trees mixed like that's no problem at all, right?
No problem.
Okay, and we've had three that they were absolutely healthy, and they broke off halfway, and it looked like they almost had a BB in the middle of them. Now, is that a parasite that has got in there, and what is causing that?
No, I doubt it. It sounds like physical damage of some kind to me. Do you have any animals or deer in there that might have broken them over?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a pretty big farm, so that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And just and on a short note, tell me something about blight. Exactly what is that, and what do we need to look for, and how do we treat that?
Blight is a general term that people use that can mean anything and everything. That's just like if you have an ailment, you say, "Well, I'm sick." That doesn't tell us very much.
Right.
I mean, and there's several diseases that use the word blight in the name. Possibly, what you may be referring to is fire blight, which is a bacterial disease that's spread by bees when they visit the flowers in the spring. Certain apple and pear varieties are susceptible to that. The bacteria moves throughout the plant and causes the tips of the branches to turn brown, and the leaves turn brown and then extend back inward into the center of the tree. And if it's not pruned out, it'll eventually kill the tree. I don't know if that's what you're referring to or not.
Right. And the trees that are already dead, we're planning on in the next 2 weeks go ahead and replace those dead trees. Is it a good time to do that?
Well, if you can find the trees, I don't know where you got the trees from, and if you bought dormant, bare-rooted plants, or if you bought container-grown plants from a nursery.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, you answered my questions, and I sure appreciate all the information.
All right. Thanks for calling, and give us a call at 599-1195, and we can send you the other materials.
I'll do that. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate your call. He had some really good questions,
Oh, yeah.
and it sounds like they've got a pretty good sized orchard.
Yeah, that's a lot of trees.
It is. It sure is. And anyway, but as you said, Carl, I think it would be really wise, and I mean, for them going through the trouble that they are,
Yeah.
go a few steps farther and do a soil analysis testing.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sounds like early on they need to get them some good sprayers to where they can start spraying the fungicides and
that's
things
a good
like
point,
that.
Rob.
So,
Yeah, because I failed to mention that.
Yeah.
Growing fruit trees is hard work. You need to be able to spray to control insects and diseases. If you think you can't, you're just really fooling yourself. And know that it takes a lot of work to control insects and diseases in order to have fruit that is not infested with insects and diseases.
Well, Carl, with the apples, pears, peaches, and plums, I think are the varieties of the trees they said that they had in the orchard.
Mm-hmm.
When it's time to start spraying for fungicides, will they be able to use the same fungicides on all of these trees?
Yeah, for the most part, there's a lot of crossover between fungicides, and different ones are labeled for different fruits. For example, Captan is labeled to control brown rot of peach, cherry, nectarine, plum. It's also used to control black rot in grapes, and there's other fungicides too that have multiple crops listed on the label.
And I guess the thing about it with fungicides, you don't wait until you see them.
Mm-hmm.
You start spraying to prevent them.
Absolutely.
And so this is when I get to use the term again. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure in that case, correct?
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
All righty. But excellent question right there. And just to put in a plug for the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, they have a wide array of information that is free and accessible to the public. All you have to do is call and ask. They can either send it to you by email or they can send it to you by U.S. mail.
Mm-hmm.
Just call the office and let them know what you got going on, and they can help you out. Everything from constructing a small greenhouse to planting your vegetable garden, on how to lay it out, how to do a compost pile. If you want to start a small orchard, they've got all kind of advice on that.
Yep.
And they also have the information of what name brands or varieties, and I shouldn't say name brands, I should say varieties of trees and plants that work better in this area.
That's right.
And
We
so,
have a wealth of information, and it used to be we had all this information. Well, we still do have. We retain hard copies of publications in the office, so we can mail those out. But if you want to go online and print off the publications yourself, you can go to the Extension Services website, which is www.ces as for Cooperative Extension Service www.ces.ncsu for North Carolina State University .edu. Again, that's www.ces.ncsu.edu. And when you get to the Extension Services homepage, you'll see a bar on the top that will say find our local county extension centers. You click on that on that wording, and then you'll get a list of all the counties in the state, and then you can click on Person County. You can see the things we have. Also on the left, you can click on the various departments in the College of Agriculture, entomology, plant pathology, and then you can or horticultural science, and then you can pull up the individual publications that are specific to those departments and find what you want very easily.
And you know, another nice thing, if you access it through the internet, or if you have the Cooperative Extension Service to email it to you, you could download it and save it as a file on your computer.
Yeah.
And as long as your computer's working, you could access it and reference it for information.
That's right. That's right.
We need to get a word on for one of our fine supporting sponsors. We'll take a trip out to Timberlake and stop in at T.G. Brooks Company. They've been there since 1936. Whether you need plumbing supplies, lawn and gardening supplies, something cold to drink, or a hand-cut ribeye, or maybe an ice cream freezer, one stop at T.G. Brooks Company can take care of all of these things.
T.G. Brooks Company has your pansies and mums. Yes, it's September, it's fall. Pansies, beautiful, beautiful pansies and mums. Stop into T.G. Brooks got 'em. And right now, you know this is the very best time to get the weeds in the lawn killed out, get your fall seeding done, get the lawn chemicals to do the job. It's the best time of the year to enrich and repair your lawn. T.G. Brooks Company has the top choice turf grass seed for greener and plusher lawns. Also, the rental lawn aerators and pull and walk behind pluggers and spreaders. Plus your bag and bulk mulches and bulk planting soil to fix up your place. They have fertilizer and lime. They still have plenty of lawn sprinklers and water hose fittings. If you need a hose repair, you know, we have some dry days. If you need yard tools, they've got those in abundance, and wheelbarrows. Pick up some rakes to get the leaves up. Fresh pine needles are there for you. So if you are just the homeowner, or if you are in the professional landscaping business, everybody gets the same kind of service. And T.G. Brooks is set up to handle your commercial accounts. No matter what part of Person County, Durham County, and surrounding area, it's worth the drive to come to the one source to handle your fall needs for your lawn and your flower garden. Your family will be smiling, too, when you end up the day and cook them a delicious hand-cut ribeye steak you bought there at T.G. Brooks Company. And still, it's time to get a bowl of homemade ice cream. Get an ice cream freezer there. They've been around since 1936, and people have trusted T.G. Brooks Company for good advice when it comes to lawn, garden, and home. They take pride in serving the homeowner, farmer, and those in construction. 411 Helena Mariah Road in Timberlake, next door to Community Pharmacy. Fall is here. T.G. Brooks welcomes you.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. We are live in the studio today. If you have a question for Carl, call 599-0266. 599-0266. Carl, before we get back into the topic at hand, give us an update on the Master Gardeners course that started earlier this month and goes on Wednesdays.
Well, it's been going very well, and we had another good session in Oxford this past Wednesday, and we kind of had an outdoor learning lab. As the old adage says, there's no time like the present. So we went outside and we tried to look at plants and tried to see what diseases we could see. We identified weeds, and insects, and so we had a good time. Beautiful examples of fire ant mounds, unfortunately, in Oxford. So it made people aware of those and what they look like.
Well, Carl, the people that's taken the course are a lot of them home gardeners.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're just wanting to learn and pass that knowledge along to
That's
someone.
right. That's right.
Okay, I think we've got a caller. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
I planted some late corn, and I went out yesterday, and the leaves on it, it looks like rust
Okay.
all over the leaves.
Very observant. That's exactly what you have. It's corn rust. Rust is a fungus. Usually, if rust occurs on corn late in the season, it really doesn't hurt anything. Did the corn start to form?
It's ready to come in. I pulled 3 ears this morning.
Oh, yeah. No, rust is not. It's not going to hurt anything.
Okay. Well, I was afraid it might be that stuff they thought had in the paper all the week, some kind of fungus or something other.
Corn smut, possibly.
Well, I don't know what it was, but it was a disease that they wanted people to have the corn tested.
Okay, aflatoxin.
Oh, aflatoxin.
Yeah, you hadn't got to
no.
worry about that.
No,
Ma'am,
no.
aflatoxin is in like corn that is used to feed livestock. And of course, it's used some for human consumption, to make cornmeal and things like that. But you won't have to worry about that in your sweet corn.
Okay, well, thank you.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate your call. Well, that was a good question and good for her.
It
that
was.
She's getting some late corn in.
That's
She's
right.
not going to have a problem. Got another call. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, I have a hedge bush, look like a pine bush, and it got little worms on it, like these little cocoons. What
Yeah.
do you do to get rid of them?
Okay, they have if they're brown cocoons that kind of hang at the tips of the branches.
Yes.
Yeah, those are bagworms. The best thing you can do at this time of the year is to pull them off and get rid of them, destroy them, because each bag left on the tree can produce anywhere between 500 to 1,000 eggs that will infest the plant next year. So just pull them off by hand. Spraying at this time of the year will not have any effect on them. It will not kill them.
Okay, because I noticed around the tree it's turning, got some brown dead needles on it, and I was wondering what that.
Well, if it occurs at the tips, if you have brown needles at the tips of the branches, that could be a fungus disease. Pretty soon now we'll start to see the natural needle shed of pines, but that doesn't happen at the tip. It occurs further into the plant. So if you have bagworms present, they're probably using those needles to make the bags, and that's probably why the needles are brown.
What kind of spray would I put on? What's the name of the spray?
Nothing. Nothing at this point.
You actually need to cut them off, and after you cut the bags off, you can drop them on the ground and just stomp them into the ground. Or if you have put them in a trash bag, send them to the landfill. Or if you have a trash barrel, put them in there and burn them. But what Carl is saying, spraying them at this point will not do any good. You actually have to manually remove them at this time.
But what I'm saying, what would I spray? What kind of spray would I use on them next spring?
Okay.
Any insecticide that you have at home would work. Malathion, 7, BT, but you have to go out and you have to scout for the insects. You have to look for them. Late May and into June, the worm or the larvae is green and they camouflage themselves very well up against the pine. And then and that's the time to spray to control them before they start to make the bag. Once they make the bags are impervious to insecticides. The insecticide cannot penetrate and kill the worm.
Okay, thank you very much.
All
hey,
right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank you.
for
Good
calling.
question right there. Carl, I know we need to get back to the topic at hand, and I see you got a picture for us about the corn. Let's go ahead and see the picture that you've got up, and then we'll get a word on for the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association.
Okay, yeah. Actually, this question came up with the Master Gardeners a few days ago, and the question was asked about corn smut. In the plant world, we have the rust and the smut fungi, and this is a picture of corn smut. It's a fungus that actually infects the ear of corn, and the smut replaces the kernels, and it provides this puffy-looking structure. You can see, and then if you break this open, this will release a whole bunch of black spores that can blow all over. And actually, most varieties don't have the problem with this anymore. It can be present on the seed. Most seed companies do a good job of eliminating this, but one use of this fungus, actually, a lot of restaurants, especially in places like New York City, they view this as a delicacy. It's actually called, corn smut is actually called maize mushroom, and the Spanish word for it is cuitlacoche. And from time to time, we have restaurant owners call up here from New York City, and they ask if we know of any corn smut in farmers' fields, and they'll come up and they'll get it, and I have no idea what this costs, but people actually eat this. I need to do a search and see actually what they charge for this.
It
but
would
it's
be
amazing.
interesting. Have you ever eaten it,
No,
Carl?
no,
And it's called maize
mushroom.
Okay. Never tried it, but I remember years ago we would have some corn smut, in our sweet corn.
Right.
But as you say, you see very little of it now. I guess because the seed companies have learned how to deal with it,
Right.
to kind of keep it out.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get a word on for the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. They've got their 8th annual harvest show coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Butner. That's going to be October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Here's more information about the 8th annual harvest show.
The Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association has scheduled their 8th annual harvest show for October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You certainly want to make it your plans to be at the show. It will take place in Butner, North Carolina, at the corner of 12th and G Streets. For more information, call Al Govern at 919-528-1652. If you're someone that enjoys tractors and hit-and-miss engines, they'll have a lot on display with antique farm equipment. Be sure to check out the one-of-a-kind antique tool and homestead display. The harvest show is scheduled for Friday, October the 3rd from noon until 5, Saturday, October the 4th from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., and on Sunday, October the 5th from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. This year's show will feature John Deere. For more information, call Al Govern at 919-528-1652. Daily admission is $5 or get a 3-day pass for only $8. Children 12 and under admitted free. That's October 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Butner for the 8th Annual Harvest Show, sponsored by the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association.
All right, here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. And Carl, the show has flown by today.
It certainly has.
We've got just maybe a couple of more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to continue on with the organic?
We can continue with that next week. Well, let's see. We might. I think I've got a few more slides before it actually moves into other topics that I could probably hit real quick here. Yeah, we'll give this a try. Some things you can do as far as cultural practices in the garden which will help, if you're trying to grow an organic garden. Straw, leaves, newspaper, and grass clippings can be used as a mulch, keep the garden clean, remove diseased leaves and fallen fruit, and discard Always pull weeds before they go to seed. Stay out of the garden when plants are wet to prevent spreading diseases. Don't use tobacco products such as cigarettes or cigars when you work in the garden. Tomato, pepper, and eggplant are susceptible to a mosaic virus disease common in tobacco and may be spread very easily by handling the plants. Remove and dispose of infected leaves from diseased plants as soon as you see them. Remove severely diseased plants before they contaminate others. Clean up and remove crop refuse as soon as plants are through producing in the garden. Keep old sacks, baskets, decaying vegetables which may harbor insects and diseases out of the garden. Stake tall flower and vegetable plants or plant them in wire cages to prevent the blossoms of fruit from coming in contact with the soil. Plant warm season crops after the soil is warm to avoid problems with seed and root rots. Growth will be more vigorous as well. And frequently inspect plant for egg clusters, beetles, caterpillars, and other insects. Hand pick as many pests as you can. Where slugs are a problem, use traps and try to create drier conditions. Heavy mulches may sometimes encourage slugs. You can spread crushed eggshells or hydrated lime around affected plants. Use disease organisms to attack pests. Bacillus thuringiensis, which is also known as BT, is a commercially available bacterium that is effective against caterpillar pests such as cabbage worms and tomato hornworms. And so we'll talk more about this next week and how BT works as far as insect control.
Okay, some useful information, and I know sometimes this may be a little bit confusing to you folks that are watching and listening the Gardeners Corner program when we're kind of talking about one subject and we have a phone call and we talk about other things and then
That's
we
right.
jump back on the subject. But we try to address any questions or anything that is, brought to the table. And I guess I'm one that a lot of times when people ask questions and Carl answers them, it causes me to have a few more questions, and
That's
I
good.
continue on that journey. But want to say a special thanks to all of our fine supporting sponsors, T.G. Brooks Company, South Boston Memorials, and the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. Special thanks to our resident expert, Mr. Carl Cantalupi,
Thanks, Rob.
of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, and we appreciate each and every one of you all for tuning in to the Gardeners Corner program. Remember, shop local when you can. Visit any of the local farmers markets. Your money that you spend with the markets is greatly appreciated, and you'll be glad that you did with some of the wonderful products and goods that you can get from these markets. Have a wonderful and safe weekend, and we'll see you next Friday for another edition of the Gardeners Corner program.